A month after my boyfriend unexpectedly went missing, his wealthy fiancée suddenly came knocking at the door. She glanced at the convenience store where I worked and let out a soft sneer. Not much to speak of. It seems Anthony's taste has dropped quite a bit during this period of amnesia. I was taken aback, then took out the QR code. So you're the fiancé? Perfect timing. Could you please settle the medical bills your fiancé owes me? Chapter 1. Miss Lin should understand that class is not something that can be transcended by the so-called true love of an ordinary person like you. A bottle of pure water was placed in front of me at the checkout. Looking up, I saw Lu's young lady Selina's face again. It has been more than half a month since she last came to the convenience store to find me. I know the reason for her visit this time. Last time she exposed Anthony as the missing prince of the Han family. And after Anthony found out, he has been coming to stand guard outside my rental apartment every day for almost a week. As Anthony's fiancée, with her temperament, she naturally couldn't sit still. But I have no interest in being a part of their wealthy marriage game. A total of 7 yuan. Would you like to pay with a scan or cash? I raised my professional smile. She paused slightly, then raised the phone in her hand. I swiftly scanned the code. Thank you for your patronage. As a third party, Miss Lin's demeanor is truly admirable. Selina suddenly spoke in a voice that was neither high nor low, but loud enough for everyone to hear. The customers present all looked at me with curious, gossiping eyes. I calmly smiled. Whether I am the third party or the victim, Miss Lu knows better than anyone. If Miss Lu wants to discuss this matter here, I wouldn't mind explaining it thoroughly from beginning to end. Not to mention that Anthony only returned to the Han family and got engaged to Selina after he disappeared. Now it is Anthony who is unilaterally entangling me. The label of the third party cannot be pinned on me. Moreover, I raised my eyes and glanced at the customer behind me who was secretly taking pictures with their phone. Selina followed my gaze. Her expression slightly paused, whispered a few words to her assistant beside her, and then said to me, "Let's go outside to talk." I'm sorry, but it's my working hours now. I glanced at the customer behind me, gestured for her to bring her items over, and said to Selina, "Could you please let the customers who have finished checking out pass?" "Thank you." Seeing that I was unyielding, Selina could only resort to the typical tactics of a capitalist and went directly to find my manager. Meanwhile, her assistant had also dealt with several customers that had been secretly photographed earlier. In the end, the manager nodded and personally shoved me into her car. And before that, I had noticed a very low-key black RLX parked across the street. It's Anthony's car, but the people above seem to have no intention of coming down. It's quite interesting. Chapter 2. Once in the car, Selina didn't say a word for a long time. I simply leaned back against the rear seat and closed my eyes to rest. To be honest, luxury cars truly live up to their name. The comfort of the seat is indeed worth its price. Seeing me so calm, Selina couldn't quite maintain the little hostility she had towards me. "Miss Lin, you really are quite different from what I imagined," she said with a hint of sighing. Her gaze was complex, perhaps recalling the last time I asked her to cover Anthony's medical expenses. In Miss Lu's eyes, what should I be like? I opened my eyes and turned to her, saying, "Should I be vain, clinging to Anthony, wholeheartedly dreaming of marrying into a wealthy family?" Selina didn't speak, but her face revealed an expression of "Isn't that so?" I chuckled softly and looked at Selina, saying, "Miss Lu, for ordinary people like us, a single bad review or complaint from a client means we have to bow and apologize, knowing full well that you come with ill intentions, yet still being pushed into your car by the leader because of your status. What makes you think you understand better than us what the gap in social class truly means?" Selina stopped in her tracks, her delicate brows slightly furrowed, clearly dissatisfied with my words. Indeed, there are those in this world who wish to cling to the powerful and transcend their class. But not all of us ordinary people are fools unaware of our own worth. I leaned back against the chair again and said flatly, "Moreover, not everyone desires a life like yours. Is that so?" Her gaze was probing and sarcastic. "If that's the case, when Anthony came to find you, why didn't you reject him? If Miss Lu is unhappy about Anthony coming to find me, then why doesn't she go to Anthony instead of coming to me?" I closed my eyes and spoke slowly and deliberately. With the Lu family's influence, Miss Liu could have found other ways to make Anthony yield, but threats to interests could affect the cooperation between the Liu Han families. Pressuring through elders could easily impact your relationship. Most importantly, whether for profit or for feelings, you still want to maintain this marriage alliance and do not wish to have a direct conflict with Anthony. So you chose to resolve me among all the possible solutions, even though you know better than anyone how innocent the first am in this whole matter. Isn't it just because I am the easiest soft target among all the options? Selena was stunned, seemingly not expecting me to so bluntly unveil her thoughts. I merely raised my hand to tap on the glass window, drawing her gaze to the RLX across the street. However, unfortunately, I think Anthony feels the same way. Miss Liu should be well aware that if Anthony truly cared about me, he could have been honest and dealt with the marriage arrangement properly before coming back to find me. But clearly, like you, he doesn't want to give up the benefits of the marriage while also wanting to have his cake and eat it too, which is why he chose to pressure me into compromise. Ultimately, the root of your problem does not lie with me, but you all choose to pressure me, simply because it is the least costly option among all choices. After all these years, your circle is still playing the same game. On the surface, it all sounds like feelings, but underneath, it is all about weighing pros and cons. I sighed and directly opened the car door, getting out and bending down to look at Selena. Selena, when I saved Anthony, it was out of kindness and good character, and Anthony deceived me emotionally and clung to me, which is a betrayal of my kindness. Are you sure you want to spend the rest of your life with such a person? Moreover, marrying into the Han family to live as a pampered Han wife. Is that really what you want? Selena furrowed her brow, and as her gaze swept over the scars on the back of my hand resting on the chair, a hint of confusion flashed across her face. You are. But I didn't give her the time to remember, smiled at her, and crossed the street to pull Anthony out of the RLX. The stage was returned to them. At that moment, my friend Maria happened to ride her little electric scooter to pick me up after work. Seeing Anthony and Selena standing in front of the car, she quickly pulled me onto the scooter. The throttle turned all the way, and we sped away from the scene, and Anthony looked in the direction I was leaving, then glanced at Selena in front of him, ultimately choosing to stay. Chapter 3. Anthony, that guy didn't follow. Did he? After the little electric scooter entered the community, Maria finally stopped the car and looked back. He won't. After all, his legitimate fiancé is still around, I said in a flat tone. In that case, as long as he still cares about the marriage between Han Liu's family and his, he must first give his legitimate fiancé an explanation. Maria glanced at my expression, instantly understanding, and immediately exclaimed in indignation, "Damn. Having what's in the bowl but eyeing what's in the pot. Damn. So he wanted to eat from the pot while holding the bowl. Truly shameless." I didn't respond because Maria was right. Anthony is just shameless. Are you okay with that? Maria asked with concern. After all, you were. I smiled faintly and said, I'm fine. If you had known he was such a scumbag, you should have just left him at the police station and not cared whether he lived or died. It's ridiculous that you even rented a place just to take care of him. As we reached my front door, Maria couldn't help but say this indignantly. When I first found Anthony, my immediate reaction was to avoid trouble and take him to the police station. But perhaps because the identity of Han's young master was kept too well under wraps, the police couldn't find any clues for a while, and Anthony had lost his memory, refusing to let anyone else approach him, only willing to follow me. Thinking of my own experience of being taken in by Aunt Lynn, I ultimately softened and brought him back. I even rented a room here with the money I saved from my part-time job. To get a better deal, I paid for 2 years' rent up front. There are still 3 months left on the rent. Chapter 4. In the evening, we will set up a stall on the overpass. Before leaving, Maria reminded me not to forget to take my medicine. During the days right after Anthony disappeared, I went to the police station for news whenever I had no classes. And on weekends, I went to the place where he had the accident to look for people. I couldn't sleep all night, and not only did I lose over 20 pounds, but my stomach also developed problems. Looking back now, it seems somewhat ridiculous that someone who has understood how to manipulate people's hearts since childhood fell for that bit of innocence during Anthony's amnesia. When going downstairs, we ran into Anthony in the hallway. I could roughly guess what he wanted to say, finding it really uninteresting, so I avoided him with Maria. But he reached out and grabbed my arm. Amanda, Mr. Han, please have some self-respect. I glanced back, my gaze as cold as ice. He looked a bit dazed, seemingly not expecting that I, who usually had a good temper, could have such a sharp side. But he didn't let go. Instead, he held on even tighter. I have already arranged with Selena that I will take you to Hong Kong. As long as you are not in the capital, she won't bother you again. Anthony, do you know what you're saying? Do you want me to give up my studies and become your secret mistress in Hong Kong? I stood there, my gaze fixed on his eyes. Even with my understanding of emotional control, a surge of uncontrollable anger still welled up inside me at this moment. Amanda, don't talk to me like that, he said. If you don't want to hear it, then get lost. I clenched my fists, recalling the year and a half I had spent with him, my fingertips trembling with anger. I didn't want him to feel wronged first. Amanda, we've been through so much together. I know you have feelings for me, so don't act like this with me. I bit my lip, just about to speak, when beside me, Maria could no longer contain herself. She threw the snakeskin bag she was carrying onto the ground and pointed at Anthony, starting to curse at him. Anthony, you bastard. How dare you talk to Amanda about feelings? During the time you went missing, Amanda was so worried she nearly ruined her stomach, and she lost so much weight she looked like a shadow of herself. What the hell were you doing? Getting engaged to the young lady of the Liu family. Someone like you, a piece of trash, is not worthy of talking about feelings. Stop disgusting people. You still want Amanda to give up her studies to go to Hong Kong? Do you know how much Amanda has sacrificed to attend B University? You know very well that she is pursuing a master's and doctoral degree. If she gives up now, all those years will be in vain. With just a light comment from you, you want to ruin her years of hard work? You stupid jerk. Maria, Anthony warned. I stood in front of Maria, directly meeting Anthony's gaze. Anthony, I will not go to Hong Kong. Don't disturb my life anymore. And stop playing your little game of keeping a mistress in front of me. I find it disgusting. But Anthony said, Amanda, if you want to study, I can arrange the best schools for you. If you go to Hong Kong, you can live a life 1,000 times better than this. Chapter 5. What the hell does Anthony mean by that? He can't be thinking of forcing me, right? After packing up and returning, Maria finally realized what was happening. I silently nodded. Anthony really meant that. Damn, are these domineering CEOs crazy? Can't they understand human language? Do they have to express love this way? Maria cursed. Maria, don't romanticize the bias of power as love, I said lightly. It's not that he can't understand human speech, but rather that his current power allows him to choose not to understand. The essence of many things in this world is simply power. Why do many domestic abusers not dare to unleash their violence outside? Why do so many criminals choose to target the weak, like women and children? Because they know better than anyone who is the disempowered weakling to them. And now, to Anthony, I am such a weakling. As long as he slightly wields the power in his hands, he can easily destroy everything I have and force me into a position with no way out. Selena comes from a wealthy family, so even if he doesn't like Selena, he will still lower himself to negotiate with her, using interests to achieve his goals. In his eyes, I am nothing but a helpless orphan. So even if he claims to love me, he can easily coerce me. So Amanda, what are you going to do in the future? What if Anthony, that idiot, really gets into trouble and forces you to quit school? Maria asked with a shiver. Should we report it to the police first? I glanced at the recording on my phone and shook my head. There's no substantial evidence. Reporting it to the police would be useless. Moreover, for someone like Anthony, there are plenty of people who can help him do things perfectly without a trace. What should we do then? Maria asked, her face full of worry. Don't worry, I reassured her, patting her hand. I will handle it. You have a plan? Maria's eyes lit up. I nodded. Amanda, you really are something. Maria wrapped her arms around me, without a hint of doubt. To be honest, Amanda. Sometimes I feel like you're just like one of those lost heiresses from a TV drama. You have been different from us since childhood. Even working part-time seems like you're just experiencing life. Maria chattered about the past, then leaned closer to me. By the way, what are you planning to do? Are you going to scheme like a revenge story and give him a shock like a powerful female protagonist? Looking into her clear big eyes, I smiled slightly, signaling her that the dormitory was about to close and it was time to return to school. She glanced at the time and hurriedly packed her things to leave. I stood by the window, watching her ride her little electric scooter out of the community, then picked up my phone to look at the photo Anthony sent me of Maria and my sister Cecilia, then dialed Anthony's number. Chapter 6. Anthony. What do you mean? Are you threatening me with Maria and Cecilia? I asked. He said, Amanda, you know I care about you. My marriage with Selena is just a business arrangement. The only person I love is you. I don't want to give up on what we have. So you're trampling on my life and dignity with your power for what you call love? I laughed in anger. Anthony, you chose to marry into the Hahn family, but I never blamed you. Nor have I regretted saving you and dating you. Love losing to interests is nothing new in this world. As an adult, you make choices and you must bear the consequences. You want both. Don't you think you're being too greedy? Amanda, I know you can't accept it all at once, Anthony said, but think about it carefully. What's wrong with going to Hong Kong? You want to further your studies. I can help you find the best mentors. You don't have to struggle like you do now, juggling both studying and working. Besides marriage, I can give you everything. After all your hard work in graduate and doctoral studies, you may not even be able to live this kind of life in the future. Ha! It's the first time I've heard someone describe being a canary so refreshingly and uniquely. I sneered. So, Anthony, you really don't intend to let me go, do you? Amanda, I'm doing this for our future. I didn't let him finish and hung up the phone. There really aren't that many stories where the heroine always wins. But reality isn't a one-on-one chess game. Since there's a third party involved, who is stronger or weaker is uncertain. I took a deep breath and dialed a number. I knew you would call. Selena's voice came through the phone. I've been wondering, who exactly is Amanda? At 17, she could quickly earn $300,000 to pay for her aunt's medical treatment. Yet now she's willing to work in a small convenience store to make a living. I didn't expect it to be you. Charlotte. Chapter 7. In the private room of the restaurant, I sat on the leather chair, picked up the teacup in front of me, and took a sip. I haven't had such good black tea in a long time. Selena sat across from me, glanced at the birthday card on the table, and smiled. If you had told me earlier that you were celebrating your birthday today, I could have treated you to better tea. Actually, this restaurant has very good service, especially suitable for celebrating birthdays. The owner's photography skills are excellent, and the photos have a great atmosphere. I put down the teacup, looked around at the decorations in the store, and smiled. A year ago Anthony brought me to this very private room. At that time, he worked part-time delivering food for 2 whole months just to bring me here for a birthday celebration. He ordered this birthday set. But now, don't you think people's hearts are very changeable? You didn't invite me here just to talk about this, did you? Selena said. I raised an eyebrow and took out a jewelry box from my bag, opening it and placing it on the table. Inside was a new pair of tassel earrings from Selena's self-created jewelry brand R.W. Spirit Moon series. I picked up one earring, looked at the decorative mirror beside me, and while putting it on, I said, very beautiful. And it has your personal style. It's just a pity that it was suppressed by the Lou headquarters. And the brand also lacks an event that can be remembered by the public. Heh. Selena let out a light laugh, picked up another one, and personally helped me put it on. It seems you did your homework before coming here. You never fight an unprepared battle. This is indeed your style. Although Selena is the only daughter of the Lou family's main branch, her father died early, and Lou old man favored sons over daughters, let alone the brothers from the second branch. In the eyes of Lou old man, she is even inferior to the illegitimate children left by her father. It is already not easy for her to stand her ground in the Lou family. How could those people in the Lou family really give her a chance to demonstrate her abilities? I didn't respond to her. Just picked up my phone, no matter what. The dream you told me about years ago of having your own brand has now been realized. So it's worth taking a commemorative photo, right? You? Selena looked at me inquisitively, but did not refuse my request. I tucked my deliberately curled long hair behind my ear, revealing the earrings on my ear, and then slightly leaned towards Selena. Selena glanced at the photo I took. The large wavy hair and the simple pure black turtleneck knitted dress made the earrings on my ears a perfect highlight in the picture. Without being too overwhelming, maybe I should ask you to be a model, she sighed and said directly. I don't want to beat around the bush with you. If you were still the Charlotte Lou of the past, I would certainly choose to help you. But times have changed. The Lou family is now under Martin's control. Given your relationship with Martin, will the Lou family still recognize you as the second miss? Selena shook her head. So what's your condition? I asked her. Selena raised an eyebrow, deliberately making a puzzled expression. I laughed and said, with your personality, would you agree to Anthony send me to Hong Kong to be taken care of, just waiting for me to come find you? She had been suffering from her father's illegitimate sons bullying her whole life. How could she allow her fiancé to do the same? It's really boring to be seen through so quickly, she said. Since that's the case, I'll be straightforward. Back then, when I was bullied by my dad's illegitimate son and the second wife, you were the one who reached out to help me. It was you, the second miss of the Lou family, who was willing to be friends with me, giving me the chance to prove myself in front of my grandfather and escape from that bullying. But just like you said back then, you only gave me 1 semester of opportunity. Whether I can use the identity of the second miss of the Lou family to establish myself in the Lou family is my own matter. It's the same now. For the sake of what happened back then, I can take a gamble, but you must first show me the value of this gamble. Selena looked at me. I nodded. That's fair, but I don't understand. Back then, you would rather deceive Martin into faking his death than leave the Lou family. And now just because Anthony wants to send you to Hong Kong, you are willing to expose yourself? Selena asked. I didn't explain. I just showed him the photo that Anthony sent me. He threatened you? He dares to threaten the Lou family. Selena laughed. This Anthony, if he ever dies at your hands, it wouldn't be unfair at all. It doesn't matter. What matters is that this week's launch event for the Han and Lou family's new project will definitely be exciting. I stood up, picked up the canvas bag on the table, and gently flicked the tassel on the earrings with my fingers. Don't forget to give me my commission for the sales when the time comes. Mr. Lou. Mr. Lou. I heard Selena behind me softly laughing as she repeated the 2 words. Chapter 8. When I got home and opened the door, I found that the pen core hidden in the lock was broken. I let out a cold laugh, glanced around the room, and quickly noticed the places that had been tampered with. When I left Lou's house, I was always afraid of being discovered by the Lou family. Did they think such petty tricks could monitor me? I found a spot, switched to my WeChat alternate account, and first posted a social circle. It was a photo of me and Selena, but I cropped out Selena. Caption, received the earrings sent by baby. Love it, heart. Immediately, someone replied below. OMG. What's going on? The bamboo leaf blogger actually showed their face. Wow, what a beautiful woman. I sent this the Lou family's private restaurant over by the East Gate. These earrings are really pretty. Did your boyfriend give them to you? I glanced at the messages while removing my makeup and chatted with Maria. Amanda, I'm sorry. When I returned to my hometown, Cecilia had already been taken away by someone, Maria said anxiously and with guilt. I should have come back earlier. I said, Maria, Anthony is acting recklessly because of his power. This is not your fault. During this time, you should take care of yourself in your hometown, no matter what news I have here. Don't worry about it. Amanda, you wouldn't really give up your studies to go to Hong Kong for me and Cecilia, would you? If that's the case, Aunt Lynn won't be at ease either, Maria said. Don't think about these things. I glanced at the painting on the shelf behind me in the mirror and replied, just trust me. After hanging up the voice call, I walked to the shelf, pried open the frame, and took out the hidden camera. At the same time, I received a text from an unknown number. I am thinking of your safety. I looked at the camera and said, Anthony, threatening surveillance and personal control. And you say it's for my sake? Don't you find that disgusting? After I finished speaking, I threw the camera into the trash can. Of course I know that the person who installed the camera is Anthony. But I also know that this unknown source of information alone cannot prove anything. Now is not the time to let these matters affect the next step of the plan. I took a deep breath, lay down on the bed, and quietly stared at the ceiling. I recalled the night many years ago when my biological mother jumped from the roof of the Liu family's bee garden. Chapter 9. 5 days later. Just 1 hour before the project launch conference of the Han and Liu families. A trending topic titled #Han family heir suspected of hiding a beauty and celebrating her birthday intimately # suddenly appeared. Then more marketing accounts released photos of Anthony taking me to a high-end restaurant for my birthday when he had amnesia. Meanwhile, someone dug up that I am the blogger Bamboo Leaf, and they also released screenshots of me showing off my earrings in the social circle. The comment section quickly recognized that the earrings I was wearing are from Selena's jewelry brand R.W. Spirit Moon Series new collection. No way. Using earrings designed by the fiancé to please the mistress? Rich people really know how to play. Is Mr. Han really blind? His fiancée is a wealthy young lady, a designer, rich, beautiful, and talented, yet he still wants a mistress? Just because of the mistress's face? To be fair, Bamboo Leaf's looks and education are both quite impressive. Could it be a misunderstanding? Bamboo Leaf has been helping impoverished girls in mountain areas for years, and last month she donated sanitary napkins to several mountain high schools. She doesn't seem like someone who would be a mistress. It's all about the persona. How many internet celebrities have fallen from grace? However, the design of this young lady's earrings is really beautiful. After a series of public opinion fermentations, this event, facilitated by the marriage between the Han and Liu families, was hosted by Anthony, marking his first time publicly leading a project launch, and the final interview segment completely turned into a gossip press conference. And when Selena called me on my dedicated phone for a video, I was watching the stars on the mountain. Chapter 10. Charlotte. Are you crazy? Playing this big? Her voice was a bit urgent, but I still maintained my usual tone, blowing in the night breeze, looking at the dancing flames, and said, Congratulations. RW is trending. I see the Spirit Moon series is sold out online. The sales in stores should be good too. Now the whole country knows about your jewelry brand. You know I'm not talking about that. She said, Do you know how much impact this press conference being a failure will have on the Liu and Han collaboration project? I know, but what does that have to do with you? I said, the one leading the project is Anthony. And the project manager from the Liu family is your cousin Liu Jinghui. You're just a tool for their interests to exchange. But now it's different. The one who messed up the launch event is Anthony, and the one whose interests are harmed is your cousin. Yet only you, the fiancé, can clean up this mess. After all, if the marriage between the Liu and Han families runs into problems at this critical moment, the shareholders of both Liu and Han families won't sit still, right? Do you want me to use this matter to negotiate with the Liu family and the Han family? Selena was somewhat surprised. You know that if I step forward to clarify for Anthony at this time, with the public relations capabilities of the Han Liu families, what would your outcome be? At that time, everything you have now could be destroyed. Sigh. I breathed out, my tone softening considerably. Actually, back then when I saw you secretly putting sanitary napkins into the drawers of the underprivileged students, I wondered if you were doing it on purpose to show me, knowing that my mom and I had lived at the bottom, wanting to help me escape the bullying from your cousin and his friends. But now it seems, that doesn't really matter. Ah, Selena was momentarily stunned. I just wanted to say that the public welfare work you've done over the years hasn't been in vain. I didn't continue, just said, to clarify, I don't necessarily have to be the villain in the story. I sent her the materials I had prepared. A brand can become popular for a time through scandals, but to be remembered for a long time, it must have a good brand story. Building a brand is like doing anything else. Now that things have come to this point, there's no meaning in retreating. It's better for us to tell a good story together. Selena looked at the photos I sent, then picked up her phone to compare. only to realize that the clothes and makeup I wore when I went to see her that day were exactly the same as what I wore a year ago when Anthony celebrated my birthday with me. Did you plan this move for today from the beginning? Charlotte, you really are. Selena, with a complex tone, finally said. Forget it. These past few days Anthony has been looking for you everywhere. Just stay there for now, and once I sort everything out on my end, I'll come to pick you up myself. You don't need to worry. Your sister Cecilia. All right. Then thank you, I said. Chapter 11. Selena came out to clarify, stating that everything was a misunderstanding by the media, and that she and I have been friends for many years. Meanwhile, I also used Bamboo Leaf's account to post the first video of myself. I have been in seclusion in the mountains during this time, so I haven't been paying attention to things online. I didn't expect such outrageous rumors to emerge. My followers know that I have done quite a bit of public welfare over the years, but in fact, the one who has been supporting me behind the scenes all these years, aside from my own video earnings, is Miss Selena's private public welfare fund. As I spoke, I took out the records of the transfers from Selena's foundation over the years, as well as the detailed bills of my public welfare expenditures. Of course, this matter was originally just a coincidence. Before I re-encountered Selena, I truly had no idea that the foundation I helped apply for funding for impoverished girls in the mountain area all these years had Selena as the financial backer. I initially chose to help the girls from the fishing village school apply for this foundation simply because the review and funding disbursement of this foundation are the fastest. But since it has happened, of course, we should make good use of the value of this matter. Just as Ms. Liu said, I am very good friends with her privately. As for the photos of Mr. Han and me, I released a photo of me and Selena. Actually, when I was celebrating my birthday, Ms. Liu was also present, and my earrings were a gift from Ms. Selena. Using a year-old photo to create a topic, using a photo from a year later to quell public opinion, and leveraging previous charitable work to play an emotional card for my brand. In the car taking me back, Selena sighed. It really is your Charlotte's doing. Now you can bet with peace of mind, I said. I've already dealt with your neighborhood's neighbors, Anthony's coworkers, including the owner of that private kitchen. Anthony's amnesia is related to the internal strife of the Han family, and the Han family won't let these dirty matters come to light. So this matter is considered over, Selena said. But I'm still worried about another thing. With the commotion you've caused this time, the Liu family can't possibly overlook it. Aren't you afraid of Martin? If this is what you're worried about, you can first check the latest statement on the Liu Group's official website, I said with a smile. The Liu family actually claimed your identity as the second miss and appointed you to lead the Liu Group's new project? The new project of the Liu family is the chip collaboration project that the Han family has been vying for. She was taken aback, suddenly looking at me. You used me? You messed up Anthony's project launch, and your real goal was to help the Liu Group secure this chip project. How can you say that? I replied with a smile. Anthony wants to take advantage of the momentum from the marriage alliance between Han Liu to secure the chip collaboration project, and I need to return to the Liu family, which requires a token of loyalty. You also know that Martin and I are not from the same mother. Now that the Liu family has secured the project, your brand is booming, and you've taken advantage of the clarification to obtain the management rights of the Liu family's hotel line from your cousin. And now that I've returned to the Liu family, with my support and that of the Liu family, you don't have to worry about your cousin and Anthony teaming up. This can be said to be a win-win-win situation. I maintained a relaxed expression. No wonder the Han family couldn't control the public opinion at the beginning. It turns out you had already connected with the Liu family. Yes. Without Liu family's support, how could the public opinion have escalated to such an extent without leaking any other information? Selena let out a long sigh before smiling. It seems I've chosen the right side. Thank you, I said seriously. This matter would have been much more difficult without your help. Selena looked at me. Forget it. If it weren't for you back then, I wouldn't know what kind of life my mom and I would be living in Liu family now. Besides, you're right. The title of Mrs. Han doesn't sound as pleasant as Mr. Liu. By the way, it wasn't convenient for you to live in that old neighborhood. I have already sent your sister to the hotel at my house. But given your current situation, You should probably return to Lou's house first. Selena asked. Yes. So my sister will need to trouble you for a few more days. I will send someone to pick her up in a couple of days. I said. All right. Then let's work together happily. Let's work together happily. Chapter 12. The car drove through the Liu family garden and stopped at the entrance of the old Liu house. Second miss. The lady and the young master are in the flower house. The steward said to me. Okay. I nodded slightly. When I arrived at the flower house, Martin was sitting at a small round table reading financial reports, while Lou's mother was trimming the flower branches beside him. I took a deep breath and stepped forward. Aunt Moo. Brother. You read back. Aunt Moo put down the scissors, turned around with a smile, and glanced at Martin. I had someone airlift lobsters. The previous chef was replaced, and I don't know if the new one meets your taste. I'll go check. Thank you, Aunt Moo, I said. Aunt Moo gave me a knowing look. It's fine. Your brother isn't angry with you. Okay. I nodded gently. After Aunt Moo left, I lowered my head and walked over to Martin. Brother. Martin glanced at me and said, Where's the proposal? I quickly took out my phone and sent the proposal I had been working on in the mountains these past few days to his email. Martin opened it, looking down, his long black eyelashes blocking his view. The air was so quiet you could hear a pin drop. After a long pause, he finally spoke. I won't be involved in the new project. If you can't handle it, I'll find someone else. I understand. I immediately responded. The atmosphere returned to its previous quiet state. I lowered my gaze to the edge of the glass table, afraid to speak or leave. Why didn't you come back when Dad passed away? I don't know how long it had been. Martin's clear voice suddenly rang out, and I looked up to meet his gaze hidden behind gold-rimmed glasses. Actually, I came back on the day of Dad's funeral, I said. He quietly stared into my eyes, his dark pupils swirling with an indescribable emotion. And after a while, he finally parted his lips to take a shallow breath and stood up, saying, Let's go to the restaurant. I nodded and followed him, just like when I first arrived at Lou's house. At that time, my mom's robbery news was seen by Lou's father. My mom was transferred to a hospital under the Liu family, while I was taken back to the Liu house by Lou's father. At that time, like everyone else, I thought I was Lou's father's illegitimate daughter. This made me afraid to make any requests of anyone in the Liu house. I only dared to stare blankly in the direction of the Liu garden gate, wanting to know about my mom's situation. In the end, I noticed Martin was paying attention to me, so as long as Martin was in the Liu house, I followed him closely, neither too far nor too close, and remained silent, just following, until he took the initiative to have the driver take me to the hospital. Chapter 13. My biological mother was the first student from their small county school to be admitted to B University. When he was young, Lou's father fell in love with my mother at a B University alumni event. But that was not a romantic beginning. My mother was born into a family that valued sons over daughters. She was able to attend university entirely thanks to the help of her high school homeroom teacher, who prevented her from being married off by her parents for a bride price right after graduating from middle school. It was only shortly after she finished her college entrance examination that her teacher passed away from pancreatic cancer. After she was admitted to university, she was solely focused on scientific research, studying anti-cancer drugs, and had no interest in dating. She even looked down on Lou's father's youthful debauchery. But so what? As long as there is money, my mother's parents would force her to drop out and send her to Lou's father's bed. My mother had resigned herself to this fate. But just when she was pregnant with her first child, Lou's father married into the Lin family. My mother lost her first child because of this. Later, she escaped from Begarden with the help of Aunt Moo while Lou's father was abroad on business. She gave birth to me in a small town and raised me there until I was 8, until she made the news due to a home invasion robbery. How is it? Does it suit your taste? Aunt Moo served me a piece of beef. I nodded, but couldn't help saying, Aunt Moo, I'm sorry. It's good that you can come back. What's past is past, she said. Aunt Moo, come, try this soup again. Aunt Moo personally served me a bowl of thick soup, but Martin furrowed his brow and couldn't help but remind, Mom, Charlotte doesn't eat mushrooms. Aw, really? Aunt Moo smiled meaningfully. put down the soup, and winked at me, saying, "After all, your brother is attentive." I didn't dare to respond, just looked at Martin. Martin let out a helpless sigh and turned to the steward beside him, saying, "Aunt Zhao, have the kitchen bake a pineapple pie and send it to the second Mrs. room later. By the way, our Charlotte loved to eat this when we were kids." Aunt Moo said, "Thank you, brother," I said softly. Martin responded with an unchanged expression. Aunt Moo and I both laughed. Chapter 14. After dinner, I returned to my room, which was still arranged the same as before. I opened the drawer of my desk, where I found the homework I had written back then, along with some used items. However, it was dust-free, indicating that someone had been cleaning regularly. Charlotte. Aunt Moo knocked and entered, glanced at the arrangement of my room, placed the pineapple pie on the edge of the desk, and looked at my old certificates, saying, "If your mother knew you were also attending B University now, she would be very happy." Aunt Moo, I'm sorry about what happened back then. I apologize once again for my fake death and departure from the Liu family, deceiving her and Martin. I don't blame you. You were just a child back then. So much happened at once, and it's normal to be unable to accept it, she said. But I heard that Martin wants you to work on the new project for the company. Although I don't handle business matters, if you want to pursue research like your mother, I can talk to Martin about it. You can focus on your studies and not worry. It's okay. This project is supposed to collaborate with our school's Microelectronics Research Institute. My advisor will also participate. I'm just going to learn a few things. It won't affect my studies, I explained. That's good. About your Lin aunt's daughter, Martin has also told me, we support whatever you want to arrange. Aunt Moo said, this might also be fate. This aunt shares the same surname Lin as your mother. Thank you, Aunt Moo. Silly child. Aunt Moo patted my head, just like when I was a child, reminding me, eat the pie, brush your teeth well, and rest early. Okay, I know. Aunt Moo, you should also rest early. The next day, after arranging Cecilia, I bought a plane ticket for Maria to return to Beijing, and then went back to school to report my absence to my advisor. When I came out of the lab, I happened to run into Anthony, though I wasn't sure if he was waiting for me. But I didn't give him a chance to get close. I directly got into the Liu family's car and left the scene. It wasn't until a few days later at a party that we met again. Amanda. While I was outside getting some fresh air, he pulled me aside and asked, "Why didn't you tell me you are the Liu family's second miss?" "Does that matter?" I retorted. "Or are you saying that if you had known I was from the Liu family, you wouldn't have done those disgusting things?" Anthony's expression stiffened slightly, but he still said, "That's not what I meant. Everything I've done is because I didn't want to lose you." "So what? What does Mr. Han want to do now?" I said coldly. "Amanda, if you are willing to trust me one more time, I promise you that once the Han and Liu projects are over, I will break off my engagement with Selena. And then, what kind of remarkable gift is your marriage?" "Anthony, do you think too highly of yourself?" I interrupted him. "Amanda, I truly hope you can give me another chance. Is that so?" I retorted. Anthony sincerely said, "Amanda, I really love you." "Well then, you can leave everything behind at the Han family and go to Hong Kong. I'll take care of you from now on. If you agree, I'll give you another chance." Anthony was taken aback, and a layer of displeasure immediately clouded his face. I scoffed lightly. "What's wrong? Don't you want to?" It turns out that even Mr. Han doesn't like the life of a pampered canary, where everything is handed to you on a silver platter. "Amanda!" Anthony's voice carried a hint of anger. "Charlotte." "Anthony, what are you two talking about?" At that moment, Selena walked over with a glass of champagne. I laughed and said, "It's nothing. Mr. Han wants to go to Hong Kong." Selena curled her lips and looked at Anthony. "Is that so? But I haven't had much time to accompany you lately." "It's fine." Anthony smiled at her and made an excuse to leave to meet an old client. After Anthony left, Selena looked at me. "This game isn't that interesting. Do you want to come over to my place for a bit?" "Sure." Chapter 15. In Selena's spacious apartment, Did you hear everything Anthony just said? I asked Selena while leaning on the leather sofa. Selena didn't deny it, only smiling and saying, "Who knows who will dump whom first?" I agree. She looked at me and sighed. But I never expected that someone like Martin would let you off the hook after you faked your death to deceive him. You don't understand, I said. I really don't, she replied. Don't mention my half-brothers, even my cousins, who crawled out of the same womb, scheme and plot against each other for their own interests, wishing they could see the other dead. Yet Martin can tolerate you returning to Liu family to share in the spoils. I smiled and asked, by the way, has your cousin made any moves with Anthony recently? It's mainly about the projects between the two families, but my cousin has been meeting with experts in the new energy sector lately. I don't know if it has anything to do with Han's side. Okay, I'll have someone keep an eye on it. If there are any issues, I'll let you know. Thank you then. Selena stretched out on the sofa and yawned. Is it tiring to reorganize Liu's hotel business lately? I asked. It is tiring. She half closed her eyes and smiled. But this is the first time in my life that I've been this happy while being tired. Having power in my own hands really makes a difference. This feeling is far more wonderful than being in love. She opened her eyes and looked at me. As long as you like it, I said with a raised eyebrow and a smile. Chapter 16. After that, Anthony stopped bothering me, and I focused most of my energy on projects and the lab. Until the shareholders' meeting of the Liu family the following year. I was still in the lab organizing data when I suddenly received a call from Secretary Lin, who was with Martin. I picked up the phone, and on the other end was Martin's voice, Charlotte. Don't be afraid. I'm here for you. At that moment, I realized someone had leaked information about my biological mother online, revealing that I was not the biological daughter of Liu's father. Oh my, this is really shocking. Charlotte is not only an illegitimate child, but also the wild offspring born from her mother with other men. This mother is quite something, not only being a mistress but also cuckolding Mr. Liu. It's truly explosive. Reports say her mother has a mental illness. Won't that be hereditary? How can the Liu family allow someone with potential mental illness risks to be the project leader? I looked at the various opinions online, clenched my palms, and took several deep breaths to calm myself down a bit. Brother, I'm fine. I'll figure this out. No need to investigate. As soon as I finished speaking, Selena rushed in, throwing a stack of documents in front of me. It's Anthony. Anthony, Martin whispered on the other end of the phone, then said to me, your friend has arrived, so you two can talk first. Remember, we are always family. Brother, thank you. Don't worry. I will handle everything, I said. Martin seemed to sigh lightly, since you want to solve this yourself. I will let Assistant Lin go back today. Any decision you make, Liu will cooperate. After hanging up the phone, Selena pulled me into her car. I flipped through the materials she brought in the car, exclaiming, I didn't expect Anthony to be able to get these things. He is just seizing this point, questioning the legitimacy of your involvement in the Liu project. Trying to bring you down during the Liu shareholders meeting. No wonder he has been in contact with several shareholders of Liu recently. This man is really something. He keeps saying how much he loves you, yet he hasn't done a single decent thing. Selena asked. But you are really not a daughter of the Liu family? Didn't you ask me before why I didn't go all out against Anthony? I spoke softly. Let me tell you a story. I started with my mother being targeted by Liu father, talking about how she escaped with the help of Aunt Mu, only to be found by Liu father again due to a robbery case. Chapter 17. My biological mother, who suffered a brain injury in that robbery case. Sometimes confused, sometimes clear-headed. At first, I also thought I was Liu father's illegitimate daughter, and no one in the Liu family exposed the truth. Liu father acted out of guilt, and also because he wanted to control my biological mother through me. And Aunt Mu is sympathetic. Although she comes from a prestigious family, she, like my mother, is unable to decide her own life, having to follow her family's arrangements, giving up her artistic pursuits to marry Mr. Liu. And my brother, I recall the first time I saw him. Perhaps I just clung to him, with no other choice. But no matter what, at that time I truly felt like I had a home. I said. This may sound a bit ungrateful, because my mother is actually a very good mom. Although she had to live a hard life to avoid the Liu family, she indeed gave me a childhood filled with love. But a single mother who is pregnant out of wedlock, with a child and living in poverty, inevitably has to face some difficulties and malice in this society. That year I was 7 years old, just starting elementary school, and I could already understand the disparities in this world. At that time, there was a classmate whose parent was the manager of the only chain supermarket in town. His parents enrolled him in an English tutoring class when he was in kindergarten. At that time, I thought it was impressive that he could speak a few simple sentences in English. Even when he invited us to his birthday party at his home, it was my first time taking an elevator. I was so anxious that even pressing the elevator button required mental preparation. I felt that the classmate who could casually press the floor button was surrounded by an aura. But later, when I arrived at the Liu family, I had the best foreign teachers and could spend a long time abroad every year. In just 2 years, not only could I communicate in English, but I could also speak in French, with many words I didn't even recognize yet I could already say. At that moment, I understood that many things in this world are unattainable for the poor, not because they don't work hard enough. Especially on my 10th birthday, my father Liu bought a yacht in my name and threw a birthday party on it. At that party, I was the only master, able to control everything on the yacht. It was the first time I truly understood what power is. I also felt more acutely what it means to be born at the bottom, because of the lack of material resources and environment, and how life is limited by the inability to afford the cost of trial and error. I really don't want to go back to my old environment. I paused, and after a while, I spoke again. So this is how I ended up causing my mother's death. Chapter 18. Selena was stunned, seemingly at a loss for words, and I just continued to recount that past. After my mother was taken back to the Liu family, she lived in Begarden, with dedicated medical care. As for me, due to my own performance, I increasingly gained recognition from Liu's father, receiving more power from him. Although my mother was injured in the head, she understood my thoughts. So even though she didn't want to stay in the Liu family, she never showed it in front of me. And I took a deep breath. She didn't say anything, so I pretended not to know. I thought life would continue like that forever, until that day when my mom suddenly begged me to take her away from the Liu family. That was the first time she asked me for help, but I didn't answer her. I just asked her, if she left the Liu family and fell ill, what should I do? Should I continue my studies or take care of her? She fell silent, and after a long pause, she finally said, "Yeah, how could I be so selfish?" I thought that was the end of it, but that night she fell ill and jumped from the top floor of Begarden. Afterwards, I learned that her research institute had officially declared bankruptcy and closed that day. At that moment, I remembered that when I first arrived at the Liu family, my only wish was to protect my mother and never let her be bullied again. But I have changed. Because of capital and power, I have become arrogant and self-righteous. I think my choices are the most rational and the best for everyone. I did not protect my mother for the sake of power, status, and capital. I ignored her suffering, using her illness and the excuse that this is good for everyone. I ignored her pleas for help and became an accomplice in her oppression. She has a drawer, and inside, besides the photos of me from childhood, are all the clippings she cut out about that research institute. But that day, her ideals were completely shattered, and her most beloved daughter betrayed her. Charlotte, Selena reached out to hold the back of my hand. I realized that efficiency, profit, and power are not everything in life. But at that time, I didn't know what I wanted after losing my mother. I said, so I designed my departure from Liu's family, but encountered Aunt Lin. Poverty can really bring out the worst in human nature. But Aunt Lin made me realize that even in such an environment, there are still people who will scrape together a little from their own food money to help you. Conscience is unrelated to class, and virtue is unrelated to knowledge. In these years of living as an ordinary person, I have regained some things and started to clarify what I truly want to do. I returned to Liu home because I didn't want to regret it after the people around me got hurt. But I also never intended to keep entangled with Anthony because I have my own life goals. So what about now? Selena asked. It seems you are willing to let Anthony go, but Anthony clearly doesn't want to let you go. Yeah, I turned and looked straight into her eyes. So you should cut ties with Anthony as soon as possible. What do you mean? She looked at me with a questioning gaze. I said lightly, the Liu family has a family motto, which is to be prepared for the unexpected. Although I initially did not plan to fight to the death with Anthony, I could not do nothing against a potential enemy. For the past 2 years, I have been keeping an eye on the Han family and Anthony, and I have also placed some people within the Han family. With what I have on hand, combined with the strength of the Liu family, it is enough to make Anthony drink a bitter cup. Chapter 19. I calculated the timing and released a statement from the Liu family before the Han family was investigated. I explained that my mother and Liu father had a romantic relationship, but they had already separated after Liu father got married. Later, my mother and I returned to the Liu family because my mother suffered a brain injury in a robbery and could not take care of herself. So the Liu family took us back to care for her. At the same time, I had posted the adoption agreement that Liu father had arranged through a lawyer, indicating that I was originally just an adopted daughter of the Liu family. After doing all this, I returned to the Liu family's garden, sitting in the room where my mother lived before her death. I stared blankly at the photos of her and me from my childhood. I know this is the best time to uncover everything my mother went through back then, but if I do that, what will happen to Aunt Moo and Martin? What about all those who have worked so hard for the new project? Do you feel guilty? Aunt Moo appeared by my side without me noticing. She sat down, took my hand, glanced at the person in the photo, and said with a bitter smile, "This is what you have to go through while sitting in your current position. To protect the interests of the company and the majority, sacrificing oneself, sacrificing family, sacrificing emotions, and even sacrificing the truth. I don't know how to advise you, because I myself haven't figured out what the right thing to do is. But there's something I want to give you." Aunt Moo pulled out a photo, which was of me giving a speech as the student representative during my middle school days. "This is the day your mom asked me to secretly take her out of garden to see you give your speech," Aunt Moo said. I looked at the image of myself, then flipped it over to see the familiar handwriting on the back. "May my darling become the best version of herself. Hold her head high, and live a life without regrets." Mom. Tears streamed down uncontrollably from my eyes. Aunt Moo reached out and pulled me into her embrace. "She has always been proud of you." Chapter 20. When Anthony and the project leaders were taken away to assist in the investigation, I had the documents regarding the internal strife of the Han family released. This involves criminal cases such as contract killing, kidnapping, and extortion. Although Anthony was a victim in that incident, it was enough to damage the reputation of the Han family. Moreover, the means of retaliation that Anthony employed also involved nearly half of the criminal law. In an instant, public opinion was in an uproar. At the same time, news about some projects that had been under pressure from the Han family exploding also continuously topped the trending searches. Selena cooperated very well, not only calling off her engagement with Anthony but also bringing out the projects of the Liu Han families. This struck a blow to the Han family and also harmed her cousin. Once I completely ignited the lines I had buried in the Han family over the past 2 years, the Han family's capital chain would soon break. I also represented the Liu family to express to the Liu family that the Liu family could accept the mess caused by the Han family's deficit and become the new partner of the Liu family. But the premise is that the project must be handled by Selena, and Selena has taken over most of the Liu family, dealing with Han family even more aggressively than I do. She said confidently, "Since we've already torn our faces, of course I have to take advantage of his weakness. Otherwise, should I wait for him to recover and then bite me back? Besides, isn't this what you taught me back then?" Indeed, I gave a thumbs up. Congratulations. Greater things come from humble beginnings. Meanwhile, Martin also returned from abroad and completely reorganized some people within the Liu family who had dealings with the Han family. Under such high pressure, the Han family could only sell off assets and technology to barely survive. Coincidentally, the fields that the Han family and the Liu family were involved in overlapped, so we acquired many of the Han family's core assets and technologies at a low price. The day the news broke that Anthony was sentenced to 15 years for multiple crimes, Selena was so happy that she invited me to drink champagne during the day. After all, She is now truly the CEO. Lou, I heard that Anthony has always wanted to see you, but you refused, Selena asked. Don't you want to hear his words of repentance? I shook my head with a smile. In terms of relationships, I never look back. From Anthony's choice to enter into a marriage alliance, everything between him and me had already ended. What followed was his persistent entanglement, a self-inflicted consequence. So you don't plan to continue managing Lou's estate? Selena asked. I still want to do research, I said. Everything about the Lou family never belonged to me, and compared to Charlotte, I prefer being Amanda. All right, with your brains, you can do anything. As Selena spoke, she signed a check and shoved it into my hand. What is this? I chuckled. If you are trying to support my research funding, then no need. I have made quite a bit this time, and with the shares I hold, money is not an issue. It's the commission from when you helped me sell products before. With a tipsy smile, she pointed to the earrings on her ears, leaning on my shoulder. Let me tell you one more thing. Actually, when I helped the underprivileged students back then, it was indeed to put on a show in front of you, hoping to use you to help me and my mom escape the predicament at Lou's house. But later, do you know who my secretary is? It's the girl I gave sanitary napkins to back then. Over the years, it was she who accompanied me through the ups and downs of the Lou family. And 3 years ago, she even saved my life. It was also because of her that I established my own charity foundation after coming of age. And the reason I was able to take over the Lou family so quickly this time is because of the students I have sponsored over the years who have entered various departments of the Lou family. So I apologize for the remarks I made about class that were aimed at you, which I said intentionally for Anthony. I walked out of Selena's club. Cecilia happily rushed over and hugged my waist, saying, Sister, Maria and I came to pick you up. Maria was standing in front of her newly bought small car. Amanda, hurry up. Aunt Lynn said she is almost at our doorstep, and she brought the Australian beef that just arrived by air today. Hot pot. Hot pot. Here we come. Once in the car, Maria immediately stepped on the gas. Happily,